We're joined now by Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware. Senator Coons, you just heard Congresswoman Dean right there on the necessity of a 9/11 commission. You agree?
I do. George, this was a remarkable week, a powerful week. And I think the House managers, obviously Congresswoman Dean and Congressman Raskin, and a very talented team put on an incredibly compelling and powerful case. But there's still more evidence that the American people need and deserve to hear. And a 9/11 commission is a way to make sure that we secure the Capitol going forward and that we lay bare the record of just how responsible and how abjectly violating of his constitutional oath President Trump really was.
So there is more to learn, and you played a key role in working out the compromise accepted by the House managers on witnesses. Walk us through the argument you made and what was going on in those couple of hours of confusion yesterday morning on the Senate floor.
Well, a number of senators promptly started talking to each other about what was the path forward with the unexpected request by the House managers for additional witnesses. And as lead manager Jamie Raskin recognized right after the trial, they could have had 500 more witnesses. It wasn't going to change the outcome. Once Mitch McConnell made it clear he intended to acquit, even despite the compelling evidence, what the House managers needed wasn't more witnesses or more evidence. What we all needed was more Republican courage. I am grateful to Dr. Cassidy and the 7 Republicans who joined with every Democrat in voting to convict President Trump. This was the most bipartisan verdict in American history, a strong rebuke to President Trump. But frankly, at the end of the day, the trial had reached its natural conclusion, and I'm grateful for the terrific work the House managers did.
So you don't believe that a full trial, more witnesses, more documents, gave us a sense of what was going on inside the White House would have better served the cause of justice and accountability?
I do think that we need to spend months and months unearthing all the evidence that can possibly be gotten to through a 9/11 style commission. I frankly, at that time, did not think that spending months fighting over additional witnesses would have changed the outcome of this trial one bit. And the House managers agreed. Many senators were making that point, that they had as many votes on the Republican side as were possible to get. Frankly, they got more than even I expected, given, if you look back a year, the impeachment trial of President Trump that happened a year ago, only 1 Republican voted to convict.
What about a secret ballot? Would there have been 67 votes?
Yes. I'm fairly certain there would have been a vote to convict with a secret ballot. As you just reported on a few moments ago, Mitch McConnell, immediately following this vote, despite voting to acquit on flimsy constitutional grounds, said that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for the assault on the Capitol. And a number of Republicans have already come out and said there should be further accountability, whether through a criminal trial or through some other path towards being barred from office. I frankly think there were a majority of Republicans hanging their hat on a not very compelling constitutional argument, and we need to find a way that we can deliver that accountability. Ultimately, it's in the hands of the American people, but I do think the Republican Party is deeply divided right now, and I'm grateful for the 7 Republican senators and 10 Republican House members who stood up for the Constitution and stood up to President Trump.
You're a lawyer. You agree with these calls for more criminal investigation of former President Trump?
I think there's grounds for further proceedings, both civil and criminal, against former President Trump. But, George, I'm also focused on moving forward with delivering the urgent pandemic relief, the revitalization and strengthening of our economy that President Biden has been focused on since becoming president. Even during this week of the impeachment trial, President Biden had bipartisan groups of senators over to the White House to talk about pandemic relief, rebuilding infrastructure, restarting our economy. I think that phase of accountability moves to the courts now, and we in Congress need to move forward with delivering the expanded unemployment checks, the stimulus checks, the reinvestment in our economy that the American people so desperately need and deserve.
You're a close ally of President Biden, perhaps his closest ally in the Senate. Have you spoken to him since the verdict, number one? And number two, given that it looks like this pandemic relief, at least the first bill, is going to be a partisan effort, not a bipartisan effort, how does he build on that promise he made in the campaign to bring the country together?
Well, George, let's be clear. President Biden has met and met, spoken and spoken with bipartisan groups of senators. There are 10 Republican senators who are still negotiating with the White House, with a group of Democrats, about trying to find a bipartisan path for an appropriately bold and broad relief package. If they get to a number and a scope that meets President Biden's goals, I think that's a good outcome. But we in the House and Senate, Democrats, have provided a pathway so that if a month from now, as unemployment checks are at the verge of stopping for 10 million Americans, we can proceed with a Democrat-only bill. President Biden is uniting the American people. He is moving forward on relief that has the support of 3/4 of the American people. And from the way he spoke at his inauguration to the actions he's taken in his first couple of weeks, he is showing us what real presidential leadership looks like, in sharp contrast to his predecessor. He ran on unity, and I believe he's delivering unity for the American people.
Senator Coons, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you, George.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.